Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Coco Gauff makes feelings clear on Canadian teen threat ahead of tough Montreal test. Coco Gauff might be the French Open queen in 2025, but her recent form hasn't matched her reputation. And when you are facing a challenge to shine on the court, it becomes an uphill task to face another rising, young prodigy. Seems like the world number 2 will have to put her best foot forward when she faces an 18-year-old WTA sensation on the tour. Following her shocking defeat in Wimbledon last month, Gauff will try not to get outplayed early in yet another campaign. But guess what? Despite registering 2 straight wins in Montreal this week, the American believes she may not have it easy against her upcoming opponent. But who is she? On Thursday night, Gauff survived another tough challenge at the Canadian Open. After besting compatriot Danielle Collins in the first round 3-set thriller, she had to put extra work again. Against Russia's Veronika Kudermetova, she lost the first set and appeared to be bound for a loss. But then, the world number 2 fought back to eventually beat her rival in a tense battle. Gauff entered the R16 with a scoreline of 4-6, 7-5, 6-2. During the press conference, she was asked to react to the possibility of facing Canada's Victoria Mboko. At that moment, Mboko's match against Marie Bouzkova was yet to finish. Hence, it wasn't clear who would eventually face Gauff in the 4th round. Expressing her honest feelings on the teenager Mboko, she said, "Yes, she's a great player. We played on clay, so it might be will be a different match. And obviously she's got more experience, just being on tour, playing high-level players." The 21-year-old underlined that, "It's gonna be. If I were to play her, it would be a tough match, and yes, she's definitely playing like one of the top players in the world right now. And her ranking will definitely match that soon. So yeah, it will be a tough match." For the uninitiated, Coco Gauff has already met Mboko once. During the Italian Open earlier this season, in R64, she had to put extra efforts in order to beat the teenager. The latter snatched the first set, leaving the American stunned. However, Gauff then somehow managed to secure the win with a scoreline of 3-6, 6-2, 6-1. Ahead of their rematch, the 18-year-old has now expressed honest feelings on facing the world number 2. Victoria Mboko unveils bold take on Coco Gauff ahead of the Canadian Open face-off. Victoria Mboko has been going through a sensational form this week. After besting America's Sofia Kenin in the R64, she ousted Czechia's Marie Bouzkova on Thursday. Despite trailing in the first set, the 18-year-old made an amazing return. She secured her 4th round ticket in Montreal with a final scoreline of 1-6, 6-3, 6-0. Reacting to her result, Mboko said, "I feel like I had a really shaky start, and I wanted to go to the bathroom to reset and take my time. I wanted to come into the next set with a different mentality. And it helped a little bit." But what about the upcoming challenge against Gauff? Speaking during the press conference, Mboko didn't mince her words on the hard fight. "I'm really excited for it," she said without hesitation while being confident. Looking forward to facing Gauff yet again, she added. "She's the number 1 seed of this tournament, and I've played her before, and I know what I'm going to expect. I'm going to really expect a hard fight. So, it's always great to play such incredible athletes and incredible players like her, and I think it's just going to be a really fun experience again." Mboko may try to capitalize on Gauff's ongoing weakness, inaccurate serves leading to double faults. In this tournament alone, the American has committed 37 double faults in just 2 matches. Do you think the Canadian teenager will exploit this aspect and take her sweet revenge from Gauff to level the H2H tally 1-1? Let us know in the comments below. Chapter 1. A rising star meets a homegrown threat. The early August sun burned down on the hard courts of Montreal, its heat mirrored only by the intensity of the National Bank Open. In a city known for its culture, jazz, and flair, tennis had suddenly become the hottest ticket in town. Fans spilled into Stade IGA, their anticipation crackling in the air. They weren't just there for tennis, they were there for her. Coco Gauff. At just 21, she was already a Grand Slam champion, a force on the WTA Tour, and a symbol of athletic poise. But this time, she wasn't just facing the usual pressure of being the top seed. A new challenge loomed, one that struck closer to the heart of the tournament, and perhaps to Gauff's competitive instincts. Her name? Emily Roy, Canada's teenage sensation. Chapter 2. Hype, Headlines, and a Home Advantage. Emily Roy was barely 17, a local product from Quebec, whose game had bloomed like the maple leaves of spring. A wild-card entry into the tournament, she had stunned two-seeded players in early rounds. With a booming serve, whip-smart baseline game, and fearlessness that belied her age, she had quickly become the darling of Canadian tennis. Suddenly, the press was electric. The future of Canadian tennis? Coco versus Canada's prodigy, a generational test. Can Emily Roy shock the world? Gauff was asked the inevitable question at her pre-match presser. What are your thoughts on facing Emily Roy? She's being hailed as the next big thing here in Canada. Coco, composed as ever but with a spark in her eye, responded, "She's dangerous. You can see that fire in her, like she's got nothing to lose. I remember being that kid not long ago. I respect her game, but I'm not here to pass the torch. Not yet." And with that, Gauff made her feelings clear. Chapter 3. The Weight of Experience. Coco knew better than anyone what it was like to be a teenage phenom. Wimbledon 2019 had catapulted her into global fame at 15, defeating Venus Williams and playing beyond her years. The media storm, the expectations, the eyes, it wasn't easy. She saw the same pressure now creeping around Emily. And somewhere deep inside, she admired the teen's composure. But admiration would not translate into mercy. Montreal is Emily's crowd, Gauff admitted later. But I'm bringing my own storm. Indeed, Coco had been in sublime form since winning Cincinnati and reaching the Australian Open semifinals earlier in the year. She had sharpened her serve, doubled down on footwork, and built a mental wall higher than ever. Coach Brad Gilbert, never one to mince words, prepped her carefully. "Roy plays like she's been watching your tapes from 3 years ago," he told her with a smirk. "Exploit that." Chapter 4. Clash of the Titans. Chapter 1. The day of the match, fans lined up in Gauff and Roy merchandise. The stadium was loud, split, home loyalty battling worldwide admiration. From the first ball, the tone was set. Roy came out swinging, unafraid, her ground strokes echoing like thunder through the arena. She took the first game with a crisp ace and stared down Gauff as if to say, "I belong here." Gauff, unfazed, adjusted. She played smart, pushing Roy wide, testing her footwork, and absorbing the early aggression. Her returns had the wisdom of a veteran, slicing through Roy's rhythm like a surgeon's scalpel. By the end of the first set, Gauff had edged it 7-5, a testament to experience over raw adrenaline. Chapter 5. Emotions and Momentum. Between sets, the mood shifted. Roy's box was vocal, urging their player to believe. The crowd roared every time she won a point. Coco, usually stoic, allowed herself a rare emotional moment, shaking her head after a double fault, mouthing something that looked like lock-in. In the second set, Roy surged. Her backhand began landing like rocket fire, and she started reading Gauff's patterns. One particularly outrageous cross-court winner drew a gasp from the stands and a raised eyebrow from Gauff. Roy broke serve at 3-2. It was happening. The upset was suddenly real. But champions don't wilt. Gauff, steely-eyed, took longer between points, recalibrating mentally. She broke back instantly with a flawless defensive rally, capped by a searing down-the-line forehand. "She doesn't panic," ESPN commentator Pam Shriver noted. "That's the maturity Emily is still developing." Gauff clawed her way to a second tiebreak, and this time, she turned the screws, winning it 7-3. Match. Gauff. Chapter 6. Respect earned, not given. After the final handshake, Coco wrapped her arm around Roy and whispered something inaudible. Cameras caught her smiling, but the intensity in her eyes remained. At the post-match interview, Gauff didn't hold back her praise. "Emily is the real deal. She's not just a future star. She's ready now. I just had to bring every piece of experience I had today." Roy, for her part, was gracious in defeat. "Coco's the blueprint," she said. "If I can play with her, I know I belong." The mutual respect echoed beyond the baseline. Chapter 7. The Bigger Picture. For Coco, this wasn't just another win. It was symbolic, a reflection of her place in the tennis universe. She wasn't the new kid anymore. She was now the measuring stick, the one others were trying to dethrone. I used to chase Serena. Now others are chasing me, she admitted candidly later that night. That realization didn't scare her. It motivated her. Montreal wasn't just a tournament anymore. It was a proving ground for both the past and the future. Chapter 8. Gauff's Montreal mission continues. As Gauff advanced to the quarterfinals, she knew tougher tests awaited. Veterans like Ons Jabeur, Jessica Pegula, or Aryna Sabalenka might loom in the draw. But this match had reminded her of something important. That greatness isn't just about power or precision. It's about clarity. Clarity of purpose, of emotion, and of identity. I know who I am, she said. I'm not chasing anymore. I'm leading. And with those words, Coco Gauff continued her journey, not just as a tennis player, but as a generational icon who no longer looks up at the stars. She is one. Epilogue, Canada's next chapter. As Emily Roy left the court to a standing ovation, she didn't look defeated. She looked inspired. The future of Canadian tennis had just gone toe-to-toe with the present face of American dominance, and held her ground. Backstage, Gauff was asked one last question. Do you think Emily could be where you are in a couple years?